The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Nicole Hennessy, Vice President of Music Biz. Hope you are all doing well today. Before we get into today's webinar by Viva Data, I wanted to take a few moments to talk about some exciting things happening here at Music Biz. I'm actually broadcasting today from Greenberg Trauer's offices in New York City. This is where we're holding our law conference. This is an event we do in New York in September, a nice, intimate 100-person event, a mix of the legal community as well as the music community, having great discussions. We talked about copyright infringement, podcast licensing. Right now they're talking about metadata, and we'll round out this afternoons with discussions about stems as well as data privacy. So a great event. If you have not been able to attend one of our law conferences, definitely look us up. We're in New York in September, and then we always do an entertainment and technology law conference as part of the annual convention in May in Nashville. So always a great event for anybody in the music industry, not just the legal community. Also working on our Nylon Connect Global Business Development Summit. Nylon, NY:LON, rotates between New York and London. In its fourth year, this year we'll be in New York, January 16th and 17th at the Dream Hotel downtown. It's a 200-person C-suite summit, very high-level discussions. It's the first event, first global music event of the new year. So the discussions there really chart the course for what will be happening throughout the year. So be sure to put that on your calendars, check that out. We announced 3 of our main keynotes for that event. It's Cecilia Vist from Spotify, Scott Cohen from Warner out of the United Kingdom, and Sun Lee from YouTube, who works YouTube's China and Korea markets. So definitely a great first announcement and some really cool stuff coming up. So be on the lookout for that. And believe it or not, already plugging away planning Music Biz 2020, our flagship event, May 11th through the 14th in Nashville. On October 1st, early next week, we will open our call for presentations. That's the industry's time to put forth ideas and panel topics that they may like to showcase their expertise on. So look for that call for presentations on October 1st. That's a very exciting time for us and really gets things rolling for that annual conference. So without much more ado, I'm going to turn off my microphone and let you speak with 2 guys you came here to hear today, Lucas and Todd from Viva Data. Guys, welcome to the presentation, to the webinar series.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, if you want to communicate at all with Todd and Lucas throughout the presentation, there is a questions box. Please feel free to type your questions in there, and the guys will answer those questions as they can during their presentation. So Lucas and Todd, thank you so much. I'm going to put myself on mute. I'm here if you need me, and good luck and welcome again.
Great. Thanks a lot, Nicole. It's good to be here. Thanks for coming today. David, good to see you virtually in the questions box. Our company is Viva Data, and we're going to talk about efficient workflows for metadata. We'll be short on time, so I want to encourage you to reach out any other time. We're going to talk about lowering cost of metadata work without lowering quality. Those goals should not be opposed, and more efficient and scalable workflows. We're going to go over content ops. So that means we're going to do some kind of down and dirty stuff right away. We'll do a demo of our app, and then we'll talk about business. And feel free to post questions in the chat as we go along. My name is Lucas Gonze. I was VP of Content Operations for music at Gracenote, and I have done work at a number of other content ops-centric companies, including OpenAura with Kevin Arnold, a sheet music thing, something related to tagging, and so on, and have a long background in music tech.
And hello, my name's Todd Tate. I'm a former director out of Live 365, business and product development. It's my specialty. Been in music tech for a good decade. I've been enjoying participating in the South by Southwest Advisory Board for the last almost decade, where I onboard music tech startups to participate in the accelerator program. I've also been the community architect for the SF Music Tech Summit since the inaugural event in 2008. Thanks for coming today.
The offerings from our company are an application that we're going to look at, extensions to that application, and services. So getting into the content ops part of things, the metadata processing cycle generally works like this. You acquire some data, you normalize it, you get it into a format that makes sense for you internally, you curate the data, meaning you work in the data itself to bring the quality up, and then you load it into your backend systems. This is often called ETL, although I think ETL sort of simplifies the complexity of the whole process. And we're going to talk about automation and ways to streamline. And I'm just speaking from my experience. So this is anecdotal in a way, but I have quite a lot of experience. So on the acquisition side, a standard template for data submissions from third parties can have a lot of impact. The trick is educating your partners to provide data in that format. And that can be pretty hard because generally in the music industry, people are more about music or marketing or content or whatever it is, their community, than they are about standardization. You can build interactive forms. That is a very effective solution, but only in cases when the data can be re-entered line by line all over again. And it can be pretty great, but is limited. Let me point out, anytime you can get somebody else to do the work for you, I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but it really does make a huge difference. And personal persuasion goes a long way in our small industry. I've had good experiences hiring coders to write scrapers. I know it seems kind of nuts to go to that length, but we were able to get data from a partner which had really good products, but just didn't have a data bone. Like that was just not a thing they were capable of doing, and they would send us these crazy PDFs that were almost like screenshots of their catalog, and they were unparsable and just made no sense. So we actually hired a coder through a gig service to write a scraper. There's some really good infrastructure for scrapers, and made a leap in our acquisition of that content. And lastly, there is the simple recipe of not working with companies whose data isn't up to snuff. I think typically what the industry does is we weigh the value of the data with the trouble it takes to onboard it. And for a really valuable partner, I think most companies will go out of their way to create custom acquisition tooling. And then for a partner that's kind of on the edge, they're going to have to conform probably with a standard template or using interactive forms. For data normalization, at one company, we were getting DDEX from many different partners, and the DDEX, as it generally is, was slightly different from every partner and needed to be normalized. So we did that with XSLT. That was pretty effective. And the downside is that we had to have somebody who was really good at XSLT and carve a fair amount of time out of that person's schedule to do it. But it did work. In other cases, we've written Python to normalize data, and a Python program to automate normalization can be quite short. It can be about 50 to 100 lines. It can take 30 minutes to maybe an hour and a half to do. That's a lot of trouble compared to not having to normalize, but it is a really effective way of doing things, especially after you have a library for normalization, standard routines. And we've done a lot of this stuff, and we'd be happy to help you, figure it out. Our tool, which we're going to talk about, has the capability to normalize data on the way in. So in the previous few examples, I was talking about schemas, but data also needs to be normalized. For example, genre names may be consistent from your suppliers, but not consistent with your internal standards. So a string replacement table is incredibly valuable and effective. You'll have to maintain those string replacements, and they'll probably have to be custom for every vendor. But nevertheless, it's very valuable. And you can split fields and take them apart and put them back together. I'll be speaking pretty quickly because of the shortness of time. In terms of curation, so curation is about cleaning up the data. Something that's extremely effective is an automated validator, which draws curators to problematic spots, which is to say, eyeballing data to find errors is an impossible task for any reasonably large data set. I know that some well-known people in the industry will pick a random row and look at that. But whenever you can have a probabilistic algorithm that draws your eyes to what you need to look at, you save an enormous amount of time, and you also improve accuracy. But this is one of those places where you get both increased quality because you aren't missing things that the validator is catching, and you speed things up. You get more efficiency out of it. And in fact, our validator has been really thorough and has gotten a lot of mileage out of that one concept. You can do auto correction in a number of cases. For example, we have upgraded ISRCs from older standards. And you can improve your editorial tools with an eye towards the performance improvements that user experience produces. For example, if there's a button that's hard to grab or something that's hard to read, every row, curators are going to expend the same amount of effort to hunt for that button or to read that text, or to stretch out the field, whatever it is. Fitts law is the user experience principle. And we have built an optimized interface for data tagging that was all about making things fast. And so in that sense, we used user experience, really high quality user experience design to automate and speed things up and make them more efficient. In fact, we have a close working relationship ongoing with that really terrific designer. And in the load cycle, typically you import into SQL, whatever your backend data store is going to be. You're going to build, so you're going to combine this new data with stuff you already had on hand, and you're going to convert it into the output format that you're going to need. And then you're going to check what you got out of that. The build process can be very complex. That varies completely depending on the company, but it's a classic trouble spot, and being able to diagnose quickly produces huge efficiency improvement. I'm going to jump through because we're so short on time.
Yeah, let's move to. Looks like we're going to move to the demo focus. Or Nicole, does this shut off at 2:30, or can we go over?
It does not shut off at 2:30, so we can definitely run over as long as the attendees have the time.
Okay, so attendees, we appreciate your time. If you have to go, we get it, and feel free to reach out. So let me do this filter requirements thing really quick, Todd, and then we'll go into the demo. It won't take any time at all. A thing we found that is really good at speeding up the work and maintaining quality is a filter requirements document, like a product requirements document or a marketing requirements document, where you really specify in great detail and precision what it is that the data is supposed to look like. Here is a document that shows what they look like. This is for our capitalization checker for the Apple style guide. We provide user message, and then think really hard about the data requirements. That would include localization, anything else you can think of. It's really valuable. And we also, as part of that, create sample data that illustrates every possible edge case which could go wrong. And this verifies, this makes sure that your working processes are capable of handling real world data, and is really incredibly effective at keeping your work up to date. I'm going to jump to the demo now. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
We
seeing
can see your screen, and this is our free app that has premium upgrades available. Therefore, our new freemium app. There's no limits on volume or seats. At this time, we're covering sections 1 through 8 and 10 through 12 of the iTunes Style Guide. You must use our input data template to get your data into the app. And Lucas.
So I'm going to show the features of this app. The home screen shows a list of jobs you've done in the past. Typically, people run the data through it to identify issues, correct things, and then revalidate. And they also might want to refer to older batches of data. After you run a data set, this is the output. You see a total percent of rows with errors and an overall data quality meter. These are to tell you how good the data set is as a whole, and let you know whether or not you're going to bump the data back to your supplier. You might just give up on it if it's really bad. Or you might just do no work at all if it seems to be high quality enough. The overall data quality metric is based on the average. It's about how good this is compared to other batches. The report on what are the biggest problems with the data set, the test criteria scores, tells you what are the most important issues. This creates the efficiency that lets you know what to focus on, right? So at the top of the list, in this data set, we have 29,000 instances of genre problems and one instance of this particular issue. And since there's only one instance of this, you can have a curator fix this by hand. And since there are so many instances of this, it's worth it to get a coder to do.
And you will notice that we include very easy to understand error messages that can be understood by junior curators all the way to expert musicologists.
Indeed, and there's even more detail than you're seeing here. So the intention is that a curator can work through the data and use nothing but the error messages to figure out what to do. The second report is the sum of problems in each row, the input row scores report. This shows you a list of rows ordered by the greatest error count down to the least. At the bottom of the list, you'd see green items that don't really need work. And so the point of this is to save time for curators of not examining rows that aren't going to require any human attention. In this case, 24 rows, 24 errors, 2 warnings. It's pretty substantial. It's definitely going to be worth the time to look at that. Lastly, the field level issues report tells you about every single thing we found along the way. This is the finest grained possible level of detail, and it is quite fine grained. In fact, a row can have more errors than fields if it's these errors can be downloaded. You can get a TSV to pull into Excel or take apart using Python in a way that's sort of an API. These errors provide a lot of detail. You can look closer and get some diagnostics. In this case, the track artist is various artists, which is illegal. and the main artist is something different. So in fact, there are a number of different problems with this that affect this field, and that's what you're seeing here in these descriptions. So let me move back to here. Let's talk about the pricing philosophy. Todd started to go into that. We provide a free application, what you just saw, with premium upgrades, the freemium offering. And we also do services related to content operations. So what's free? What's in the free app? There are no limits on the volume, the number of rows, or the number of seats. Use it and enjoy. This only covers sections 1 through 8 and 10 through 12 of the iTunes style guide. We'll talk more about the other sections. And you must input data using our template. We will happily build an adapter to your schema, but it's not in the free app. What are the premium features? Todd, you want to go there?
Yeah. So we are. You could explain some of our product roadmap here as we are going to complete the entire iTunes style guide. So we're looking to move forward and tackle other sections on top of sections 1 and 8 and 10 through 12. So we're open to doing those for any one or any multiple companies. We also have the expertise to tackle other style guides. For example, the Spotify style guide. Many what I call endpoint DSPs have their own internal style guides. We can also tackle those internal style guides and data requirements. Maybe they are business requirements rather than style requirements. We can provide custom inputs, your favorite Excel format, XML, SQL, the web scraper. We are operational, fully operational in English, Spanish, and Brazilian Portuguese. Adding languages is very easy for us. Auto corrections, obviously you've just been introduced to an app that finds errors by definitions or your definitions very well. Of course, the natural next step is to offer functionality so you can fix the error. That's on our product roadmap. We are looking to do that. And of course, editing tools for curators. Sky's the limit. This is Lucas's specialty, and he'd love to work with you to meet your needs for content operations in your digital supply chain.
Indeed, our vision is to automate and speed up every part of the process. And you can see in the premium upgrades where we're going with that. This is to give you a sense of the pricing, what it will cost to build out various components. We price by subsection of the iTunes Style Guide. Note that our app is not limited to the iTunes Style Guide by any means. It's designed to be a general purpose thing. In one case, we do business metrics, and we have another section under development for something that's completely different as well. As far as our services go, we have deep backgrounds. We're able to write code, do data curation, and do both at the same time, which I think is often a very efficient way to do things. You give us the data in a dirty state, we give it back to you in a clean state. Miraculously, we're only 2 minutes over time. But even so, it's nowhere near enough time. Let's take some questions and please feel free to reach out. We'd love to talk more. This is only the beginning. We could easily do this in a 3-hour seminar, which would really wait. So I wonder.
We really appreciate your time today.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. I wonder if there are any questions.
For all attendees out there, if you use your questions box, Lucas and Todd and myself will be able to see those questions in that box and answer them as they come in.
Is that under the chat box?
No, it's under the questions box.
That's right. So while we're waiting for that and thinking about it, let me go back again. I'm just going to quickly reprise everything we've talked about. We offer an app with extensions and services. We've talked about how to optimize the various phases of the processing cycle. And we've talked about how our application fits into these phases and where it can grow to in the long run. And talked about pricing. And I think that's it. So do we have questions? Because that's not necessary. And if not, we hope you'll reach out. Our email addresses are here: Todd, Viva Data, Lucas, Viva Data, and so on.
Thanks, all. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Lucas and Todd, for the webinar this afternoon, and we hope to see you all back on the Common Ground webinar series soon. Take care.
Thank you, Nicole. Bye-bye.